we go. Up and ready. Wind has picked up. Do you like Chinese food? How often do you eat it? Wangfujing Bookstore. Closing. When was the last time you went? Wi-Fi issues, silence, carbon credits, digital currencies, and a whole lot more. This here is the Steven Sersky Audio Digest. Audio blog? Oh, it doesn't matter. Thursday, September 22nd, 2022. Folks, I am Steven Sersky, and yes, this is my audio digest, my daily audio yik yak, as I call it, wherein I go on about some things that are going on here in Beijing, China, which is where I'm living, and some of the things that come across the news feed, both here in China and all around the world. You know, some of the things that deal with us or have to do with us expats, and maybe those of you who aren't expats but might like to know what's it like to live over there somewhere, wherever there might be. The sad truth is that the wind has picked up, which means that we are now basically in winter mode, or at least autumn, I guess, since it was autumn festival, mid-autumn festival not too long ago, just a week and a half ago. And the issue with that, of course, is that the wind has picked up, like substantially. Today, I want to have the windows open, but it's gotten to the point where it's really bad. If I keep it open, I'm not sure what's going to fly through the screens that I have covering the window as it is. So it's I guess it's going to be closed windows for a little while. The problem with that, of course, is that the air inside, I've noticed that the air inside of these apartments isn't always the best, and so what ends up happening is that this is sort of what has contributed to some of my allergies before, wherein the air quality isn't good, and if you don't have one of these air purifiers running all the time, then you're going to inevitably face some sort of breathing problems, basically, is what happens. So not exactly the greatest thing, but at the same time, it is, now that I know how to deal with this, sort of solve it, it's a whole lot easier to manage in the winter months. And this is going to go on from now until, March. It's not so bad. Like, it's not always so windy, of course, in the winter, but it is right now. I did manage to get a run in just before, so I went after work around 4 o'clock or so. Got a run and did some skipping as well. Nice and light, just to get the blood moving, basically, and because today's an off day, and so it was good. But after I came back in, it was already starting. It was a little windy when I went out, but now it's like, I don't know, I feel sorry for delivery guys, sort of thing. That's what it is. And with that, I did have delivery. I didn't want to cook today. I was like, I just don't want to deal with the hassle, because technically, this being Thursday, one of the benefits of being able to tick or untick my availability for work is that I don't work tomorrow. I was asked to, but I was like, if I have to work tomorrow, then I can't work today. And the reason why is I actually have a physio appointment tomorrow afternoon that I have to attend. I haven't been able to go for quite a while. The clinic was shut down, everything. So finally managed to get an appointment with these guys. So this all sort of with the beginning of my week, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with cooking and stuff like that. So I ordered some Chinese food. Do you like Chinese food? If you ever come to China, if you ever meet a fresh off the airplane Chinese student overseas, no doubt they will ask you, do you like Chinese food? Which, if you are a human, typically you'll be like, yeah, I can eat it. And then you're going to name something that they'll be like, well, that's not real Chinese food, which is 9 times out of 10 pretty accurate in terms of what's available overseas. At the same time, it's like what we grew up with over in the West, right? Sweet and sour pork. I mean, not exactly a mainstay of Chinese cuisine here, at least not in the northern regions. I think that's more of a southern region dish, to tell you the truth. That being the case, so what did I have? Well, I had these two things, méndīngròubǐng, which translates to circular meat patties, and then tángcùjīliǔ. I call it tángcùjīliǔ. Apparently, it's not. It's tángcùjīliǔ, and so it's your sweet and sour pork that is fantastically delicious. Lots of fat, lots of oil, lots of sauce. All of it was a lot of fat, but it's very good. It tastes good. It has some rice as well, and I can say that after having 3 of the meat pockets, like imagine like a dumpling that's just stuffed with meat, but not like not even like a pierogi, not even like a British dumpling, like thin layer outside of like a dough exterior, and the inside it's like a kid's hand, like a fist size of meat, whatever it is. I'm not even sure what kind of meat it is. Probably Nero, like probably beef, but you never know. Could be I don't know, dog or duck. It's not duck. Could be something else. Don't really ask these questions, right? The tángcùjīliǔ is usually pork, so that's typically what that's made out of. And coupled together, I mean, take a bite into these méndīngròubǐng, and they should come with a warning. Be careful, may squirt. They do squirt. So it's one of these dumplings that's filled with these like this soup sauce or whatever, like inside. I think some of the xiaolongbao also come like this too, where you bite into it, and if you just bite into it when it's fresh, you scald your tongue, and you can't taste anything for the rest of the day, because the fatty boiled liquid inside will not only scorch your tongue, but it'll spurt out, wreck your clothes, which conveniently happens only after you've done laundry for the day. And then you're kind of like, well, maybe I'll never order this again, until you do actually order it again. Anyway, so this is what happens. That took a bite into it and then right across. I don't think it got over too much, but anyway, yeah, I was not expecting the squirt from biting into this meat pocket. How often do you guys have Chinese food? Good question. People have, because I get asked this, even though I've lived in the country for a while, and even if we're having a conversation in Chinese, broken albeit, they ask me, "Do you like Chinese food?" I'm going, "Well, I have to eat something first of all, and second of all, if let's put it this way: if a lot of the technology can be made in China, then all the food that is available in China, be it a pizza, burgers, méndīngròubǐng, or tángcùjīliǔ, it's all Chinese food, isn't it?" That they don't normally respond to that very much. Wangfujing Bookstore. Okay, so if you're in Beijing, this is probably one of the famous bookstores to go to. It's been on Wangfujing Street, which has been in operation for a while. Wangfujing is a large touristy shopping street built basically for tourists, not too far away from Tiananmen Square. So if you ever come to Beijing, it's going to be one of the stops that you make on your day tour of Tiananmen Square, probably followed by like into the hutongs afterwards. Like Wangfujing, you walk through, you don't need to buy it. It's not like it has anything very unique to it, to tell you the truth. It's a shopping street. It's packed with Chinese tourists. So if you are a Western shopper, chances are you're going to be like, why would I buy anything here? But if you're a Chinese shopper who is from the sticks of China, like the small towns, you might go there. It's actually famous for Quanzhou, which is the Beijing Kaoya, Beijing roast duck restaurants. That's not the original. There's an original somewhere else, but that's sort of the big touristy restaurant place. So it also houses like a bunch of luxury retailers, and it's kind of like, is this what people want to buy? But it does have these bookstores. Like it's has massive bookstores, 5 stories tall, 5 floors anyway. And it actually has 2. So there's actually it has Wangfujing Bookstore, and there's another one not far from it that I'm not sure if it has English books. I can't remember, but Wangfujing Bookstore. So there's 2 actually. Yeah, there's both of them have English sections, English book sections, but the Wangfujing Bookstore is the sort of the massive one. Actually, I'll tell you the truth, I'm not even sure if I'm getting this right. If it's the foreign language bookstore that's going, no, it's not. It's just the Wangfujing Bookstore. Oh my goodness. They all kind of look the same too, to tell you the truth. But so this bookstore is closing down for the next couple of years or so, and so they had a massive book sale to clear out everything, to clear out their inventory. I guess it's coming back. I'm not entirely sure, as the building is going to be renovated. But honestly, when was the last time you went to this place? I think I went there a couple months ago, because I was in the Wangfujing area. The physiotherapy place actually is not too far away from this area. But did I buy anything? No, because if I, like most people, I would take a picture of the book, drop that into my Taobao or Jingdong app application, and search for it, and then get the cheaper version that would be then delivered to my door, usually the next day or within a few days, at which point I would open it and not look at it. Put it on the shelf and never look at it again. It saves me the trouble of carrying it home. Right? Yeah, I know there's environmental concerns. I was talking about this yesterday, carbon credits and everything. But the packaging and the transportation, and the fact that they printed the book and it's going to sit there, and does it need to be printed if it's just going to be sat there, just going to be sitting there all the time? So, good question. But when was how often do you buy books? Do you guys still buy physical books? I know, David, I know you do. David special orders books from like around the world. And I know I have a bunch of Chinese. I buy Chinese books with the grand ambition of reading them someday. And the pages are remarkably pristine. Same with the covers. I don't like getting finger oil, like hand oil on my covers. It bothers me. I don't know why. It just drives me insane. So I don't like if it's one of these covers. It's like in China they do this especially. They have these book wraps, so it's like a third or something like that. It's a third of a page, and it sort of wraps around the book. So you have that causes issues, and then they have like a paper cover for the book as well, and that it's all very susceptible to fingerprints. And it's just one of these things where you're like, I just bought the book and it's already got like 1,000 fingerprints all over it. Mafanla, troublesome, right? I haven't had much time to read anyway since I've been doing this Delta course, which is taking up most of my free time. Although I'm not gonna lie, I'm enjoying that course as well. Wi-Fi issues on the phone. I don't know if you guys have any issues with this. If you've ever had your phone just stop connecting to Wi-Fi, this phone has been working fantastically for the last year and a half, but all of a sudden Wi-Fi doesn't work. I'm not sure if it updated or whatever, but I do know that given that National Day is only 8 days away, 9 days away, we are entering into that period when there might be a little bit more trouble making some connections with people. And your assisted internet connection devices might face some sporadic interruptions, periodic interruptions, and that just means that you're going to have to deal with it somehow. Oh well, I don't know what's happened. The only problem with this Wi-Fi thing not working is that I have to use my data, and apparently I'm using my data quite a bit, so that's not making me very happy. But oh well, I'll figure it out. Something's busted. I might have to take it into the shop and get it looked at. Although I don't like doing that because a lot of times they don't know what they're doing. And they're like, well, you have to buy a new phone. I'm not buying a new 8,000 RMB phone to replace this one. This one's going to last me at least a few more years, okay? That was the point of it. I did watch a few of these YouTube clips about these carbon credits. And yeah, basically, I didn't know that the European Union was kind of doing this, but since the European Union, although it's like one of the leaders in the legislation and policies surrounding carbon credits and things like that. It's so they have to be because the companies. So they're doing two things. Number one, not only since the European continent is so vast in terms of its cultural and demographic and country nationalistic sort of divisions, like national divisions, countries basically. So if one company over in France or Spain is not using all their carbon credits, they can sell it across the continent basically to another company who needs them. So again, it's not like the issues being solved; it's just being traded around on paper. That's it. The other thing I didn't realize, which was kind of funny and kind of made me think of China, to tell you the truth, in terms of their opening up and trying to attract foreign businesses and stuff like that, because we were complaining that we were being chased out, like the foreigners were sort of being pushed off. But at the same time, there was also sort of some talk about them China trying to attract a different type of foreigner. They wanted a certain type, a certain industry or whatever to come here. And this one of these videos put on by Bloomberg, I think it was, or The Economist. They're like, yeah, if the company isn't that big and it doesn't have to be there, or if it's super huge but it doesn't have to be there, it will pick up and move to a more favorable jurisdiction. Now, you might think, how can they do that? You're right. They don't take the mines with them. They take the headquarters, and then they set up a regional office, right? So that's what they're doing. It's not, again, they're not solving the issue. They're not putting any of those cap things on the big smokestacks that you see pumping out whatever into the air, and we're smelling that here in Beijing and around China. Lanzhou comes to mind. I'm not going to lie, that place has been perennially polluted. Beijing has nice blue skies, but that's at the expense of some other places around the country that are getting the industrial employment numbers, I guess you could say, but also the pollutants that come along with it. So that being the case, like these, and I'm not saying that these companies are coming to China. I'm saying that they could. Like, is China trying to attract these companies to come set up a headquarters, like in Beijing or Shanghai or Hong Kong? It might have been Hong Kong before, but maybe people don't really want to go there anymore. But I know, like, think of like a United States company looking at Canada going, why would we go there? And look at a Canadian company going, well, why don't we just leave and go set up shop in the States? Our headquarters will be in the States, still Canadian people and everything, same infrastructure, just the headquarters address has changed, which means that their tax filings sort of change as well, right? So yeah, that was a couple interesting things. Now, all of this kind of pushed me into, I had this Facebook conversation, or another social media conversation with a relative who expressed some consternation, some reservations about digital currencies. And the argument, as it is like, one power failure and you're done. Like, how can you buy anything with when you have a power failure? And it's a kind of a legitimate concern until you realize, like, when was the last time you endured a power failure? What happened? How long was it? I know here in China, there were rolling blackouts and brownouts and things like that. But let's keep in mind, there are, first of all, generators. And if you live in an area that it has these blackouts, you'll probably have something that can do that. Number two, not all outlets go out at the same time. Number three, consider that digital currencies also run on the NFC, so near field communication, near field connection, whatever it is. Network as well, not network, that sort of channel, that protocol. So you don't need to be connected to the internet to exchange monies, and that's what China has been working on as well for these rural areas where they're implementing digital currencies and then NFC technology. But also the very fast, you still need a cell phone. It's true, but your cell phone batteries, you have chargers, you have portable battery packs for these cell phones. Yes, you do require some connection at some point, and you're right. I'm thinking like the rural portions of the country. Yeah, there are places where like they have one plug and one line, and if that goes down, I mean you're not digital paying anything. But are those the people that you're concerned about, or are you concerned about your own situation if you're traveling through a place that only has one plug outlet? I mean, first, what are you doing there? Second of all, how long are you going to be there? And if you couldn't have power, would you stay, right? Unless you really had to, or you really had to charge your phone. So all that sort of being gathered together is like, cell phone batteries are lasting long enough that you can withstand a day's worth of restricted power usage. More than that, of course, it gets dicey. I mean, you do want to have some extra batteries and stuff like that to charge your phone or your electronic device. Even if it's NFC or anything, it's you still need the phone, the device, to be operational. But then all of that kind of leads to the question of, maybe the issue isn't the control of the digital currency, it's the control of the lights. Now, hear me out here. What if this big push to smart appliances, smart home tech, and stuff like this? Amazon got in trouble for this apparently just recently, where they were, I think it was because there was going to be a monopoly or something. Something came out that Amazon wants to track your robotic house cleaner, right? So that they're willing to take, you can upload that information to Amazon Cloud, right? Do you see the issue with this? Oh, privacy. What privacy are you talking about? There's two things. Number one, the size of your apartment, and number two, where you are. I mean, that's sort of the big one. But the size of your apartment and what type of a dwelling is it, where is it located, and everything all means that they can target you with advertising. Hey, are you a single bachelor living on your own in a small apartment? Do you need more space? How about this nice new shelving rack now on sale, 50% off, something like that, right? I mean, that's what they're thinking. If they track these robotic cleaners, right, that automatically just pace around your floor once you're done, they'll be like, hey, oh, that's how big his apartment is, 25 square feet on the floor. We could sell him some shelving units and stuff like that. I mean, oh, and you can put it up on the walls or something. Easy installation, probably doesn't want to drill into the drywall, so it's got to be tough, but it's got to be on the outside surface, removable, and of course, if he decides to leave the apartment, still an upgrade of value to the apartment, but it doesn't damage the place, right? Think of that. I mean, that's kind of where the marketing, economic scamming, skimming goes on. All that being said, smart home tech, all that information gets put up there. If they're not trying to sell you something, what if they just shut it off? Think of these carbon credits that I was talking about yesterday. Yes, this is getting, again, creative thinking. I don't want to call it a conspiracy theory because it's not conspiracy. It's creative thinking. I almost kind of wonder if I could ever have a job in the government to think this stuff up, or a private think tank. Maybe that's what I should do one day. But the idea of you track this usage, and as we move into a situation where we can either take from the grid or put into the grid, because some states and provinces do that, what if they track your energy expenditure, your usage, and your input, and they go, well, you're not contributing enough, or you're taking too much, and so they hit you with like a cap of electricity. What do? Do they fine you, or do they just shut it off? So I think the concern, one of the concerns, I think the digital currency concern of like just being able to shut off the power, I don't think that's, it seems too obvious. But smart home tech, all of a sudden, oh, well, this voting block didn't go so well. Blackout or brownout, limited power, that sort of thing. I'm not saying it has to happen in any one jurisdiction. I'm just saying that it could happen in a jurisdiction that might be kind of, look at the United States voting thing, that debacle, the whole mail-in ballot stuff like that, right? I don't put it past it. I don't put it past them. I'm not gonna lie. I don't put it past them at all to go to steep to that level. So stoop to that level. And steep. They can steep there and stoop and everything. All right. There's your fun thinking and creative thought processes for today. Hope you guys have a good one. Show notes, tracks, and vids up on my website, stevensersky.com. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. And of course, we will talk again. Have a good one. Bye-bye.